So who took the pictures that you ultimately posted online?
I didn't post none online, and it never proved that at trial. But the thing is, I was taking pictures, and so was about 4 other people, and they were videoing it too. They were videoing it too. So,
But you were present when the pictures were taken.
yes, ma'am.
We are about to watch the parole hearing of a Louisiana man who's done many things, but what really got him locked up in this long 20-year sentence was trying to extort or bribe or blackmail a police officer with pictures that were taken outside the bar, with this picture taken outside the bar. Now, of course, it backfired. But before we watch this parole hearing, we are going to take a blast to the past to watch his 2023 parole hearing, and then we'll come back into the present day to finish it up. And with that, let's jump in.
My name is Paul M. Coupart. My TOC number is 357073.
All right, Mr. Coupart, you're classified as a 4th felony offender. You're here for a rehearing this morning. You were sentenced in April of 2005, public intimidation. You're currently serving a 20-year sentence with a parole eligibility date, which was January 7th, 2016. You have a good time date, January 12th, 2030. Your full term date is in January 2031. We also have joining us this morning a representative of the DA's office in Jefferson Parish, Mr. Randy Meyer, who's indicated he'd like to speak, and we'll call on him at the appropriate time. So you're familiar with the process, Mr. Coupart. This is a rehearing. You had a parole hearing in 2020. Is that right?
Yes, ma'am.
Right. So we're just going to jump right in. Your case has been assigned to Mrs. Pearl Wise. Would you answer her questions?
Good morning.
You know,
How's it going?
my
Good. Yeah, well, you've done this before. You've been here before. How about for the record how long you served on this 20-year sentence?
I served 12 years flat.
12 years flat. And how old are you today?
45.
You're 45 years of age. All right. Since your hearing in 2020, what have you been doing? Since January 7th, 2020, what have you been doing?
Participate in every church group. I'm in college. I'm Fletcher College. And let's see. I'm an electronic specialist class too. And I stay out of trouble and I exercise. That's because of my health. I exercise a lot.
Good. What college are you in? Tell us about that.
I'm in Fletcher. It's a business course.
Okay.
Course, yeah, business and management.
Business and management. Okay. And you've had 6 write-ups. You hadn't had your last write-up was in 2017. Is that correct?
Yes, ma'am.
So you have been staying out of trouble.
Yes, ma'am. I'm also in mental toughness too. It's a new course they got here. About being mental toughness. It's called. Yeah.
Mental toughness.
It's like challenging mental things around here, helping people out. You know, because we like role models for people around here. Trying to get them on the right paths, helping people.
Okay, good. Okay. Tell us in your own words, why are you in jail?
I'm in jail for intimidation of a police officer.
What did you do?
They're saying I made a threat to a police officer before the trial.
Oh, they saying it. I said, what did you do though?
They said I intimidated a cop before a trial. They said, well, wow.
You intimidated. You said you did it, or they said you did that?
Well, I gotta admit, I intimidated a police officer before trial. Yes, ma'am.
And how so? How did you intimidate?
They said no, I'm sorry, I keep saying you using some pictures on the expose them.
Okay. That's what your statements match the records. I do see that you did earn your high set in 2019, and you also took you attended Crime Victims Rights Program and the Victim Accountability Program. What did you get out of that?
I had to grow up in prison, you know, when I came to prison, I was a different person, you know. So I grew up here, I got my eyes set, I learned, I got old, I got wise, and I got sick. And I got old, and I just got humble, that's all. And this
So
my,
what about the victim accountability class?
oh, the victim accountability class? I mean, what they were talking about. They were talking about showing remorse for your victim and admitting to your crimes, and you know, at least you know, first step is to admit, you know, that you actually did it, and then once you did it, then you got to take the steps of asking them for forgiveness and stuff. And that's it. That's all I really remember from it. Take a lot of courses. Take a lot of stuff around here.
Okay. Well, I just want to state on the record, your victim continues to be opposed to your early release. There's nothing you can do about it, but I just want you to know that. And you do have law enforcement opposition. Your judge is opposed, sheriff's office is opposed, and the DA is here. I'll be speaking in a minute. Now, if you're successful today, where would you live and how would you support yourself?
My lifetime residence at my mother's house, 821 Jade Avenue.
Okay.
It's already been approved and inspected. I always showed up to all my court dates. I ain't ever missed no payments. You know, I almost always, you know, I was on a good path, you know.
What court fees? What are you talking about, court fees?
Like when I was in the streets, I actually walked in the courts and was doing all my rights, doing all the stuff with the courts, and you know, going all my court dates and appearing. You know, I walked in the trial. You know, I wouldn't stay in jail and went to trial. I went from trial from the streets.
Yes, you did. I saw that. Yes, sir, you did. You didn't have.
I wasn't trying to run. I wasn't trying to hide. I'm not no kind of threat or nothing. You know, not no kind of threat to society or nothing.
Was drug use a part of your crime? Were you using drugs at that time in your life? Were you using drugs at that time in your life?
No, I had a lot of medical. Now, when I come to prison, they put the bag inside of me. I got a lot of medical. And you know, it's hard to get diets and all that type of stuff. But when I came to prison, I was actually young. I was, you know, I just had a child and another child, and trying to get out now and get to him because one of them's grown and one of them's he's got autism, so he's like 15. So I gotta get out there. You know, this is, I mean, I'm too old to be in prison.
Tell me about your medical now. What is your diagnosis?
I had familial polyposis. I was born with colon and rectal cancer.
Okay.
While I was in prison, they took all my colon, rectum, everything out, and they built me a bag out of my small intestines and put it into my and sewed to my anus. And they, you know, I go to the bathroom a lot. Diets are hard. You know, you're in prison. There's really no time, you know, kind of medical for that. You know.
It sounds like you're managing it quite well.
I am. I don't try to take any pills or nothing because I don't believe in it. I'm trying to stay off everything because I gotta be focused.
So with your medical situation, you're in school all day. That's all you do, right? Go to school all day.
Go to school. I work too. I actually clean the dorms. I volunteer for the church and go help. I'm involved in some clubs that actually go help the mental health and medical stuff too.
Okay, tell me about that. What kind of volunteer work you do?
I'm in the health and fitness club, and we go help the HSU clean the dorms, feed them food, you know, go help them, you know, like have like events with them, cookouts, you know, bring them up to date, you know, trying to help them out.
Okay. All right. Thank you for answering my question. Warden, what you want to tell us?
Good morning. Yeah, Ms. Wise, like you said, he hasn't had a write up in, you know, several years. You know, he has taken several classes. He's active. He's, you know, staying out of trouble. You know, he's doing the right things here.
Thank you, Warden. That's all I had, you.
Mr. Rushing.
Thank you, Madam Chairman. Mr. Popar. Good morning. Good morning. Your last hearing was in January of 2020. Would you tell us all the good time classes that you completed since your last hearing?
Since my last hearing, let's see. got a memory problem, so you gotta deal with me. Trying to get this, since 2020, you said?
Yes, in January 2020, what good times classes have you completed?
Yeah, because we had a whole year lockdown, so, they wasn't moving nothing. Okay, 2021, let me see, 2021. Let me see, 19, 20. Yeah, this is when COVID hit. Okay. I got, participation for the, what's this one for? Victim accountability. We already talked about.
As the accountability letter, right?
Yeah, I got the victim accountability. I got the certification. Took me a couple times to get it, but I got it. I got the let me see. What's this one? So, civil rights class. There's two of them, and I got a computer course I took. Learn how to operate the computers.
Mr. Popar,
Yes, sir.
I'm saying, what good time classes have you completed?
Good time classes. I think I already have everything.
Have you taken substance abuse?
No, sir.
Okay. Have you ever had a drug or alcohol problem?
No, sir.
Have you taken victim awareness?
Yes, sir. I think
I was pre-release.
no, victim aware. I took another one right after COVID. I took another one. Rights of I think this is it here. I think that, yeah. Yeah, crime victim. I took that one in 2022 of April.
Okay. Thank you.
Thank you, Ms. Rushay. I don't see any other questions.
Can you see me on the screen, Mr. Clark?
Yes, ma'am.
Okay. I was looking at your rap sheet and I showed that you're a fourth offender and your prior convictions include a possession with intent to distribute Schedule 1 and a possession of ecstasy.
Yes, ma'am.
What was the Schedule 1 drug that you were charged with possession with intent to distribute?
It was ecstasy.
Okay. Then you also have the possession of ecstasy.
Yes, ma'am. They said they found 5 pills, but yes, ma'am.
Were you using ecstasy?
No, I wasn't using ecstasy. I was young, and I was, everybody's young at that age and does stupid stuff, but
So you were selling ecstasy but not using it? Is that what you're saying?
yes, ma'am.
Have you used marijuana?
No, I don't smoke. I don't do drugs. I have too much medical.
Well, but okay, but
Back then.
that's what we're talking about back then.
Back then, I was on. No, I was really. I was young and I was confused, but I wasn't really. I was working 2 jobs trying to raise kids.
Mr. Poupart, it's a simple question.
Okay.
Around the time you were charged with these drug offenses, what kind of drugs were you personally using? That's a simple question.
Oh, I was on. I think I was on prescription pain pills because of my medical. That's why I stay away from the pills now.
Thank you, Mr. Poupart. That's all.
Thank you, Mr. Johnson. At this time, we'll hear from the DA's office, Mr. Meyer.
Good morning, Randy Meyer, Assistant DA in Jefferson Parish. We're opposed to Mr. Poupart's request for parole. He has a very extensive record that includes a number of weapons charges, lots of violence, and some couple of drug offenses. The record indicates really no program since 2017. In 2018, he did Malachi Dads, and in 2021, the victim accountability. but I have some concerns with that because he said one thing he learned in victim accountability is that the first stage is admitting your crime. He couldn't do that when Ms. Wise was asking him questions. He continued to say, they said. He wouldn't admit that he committed this particular crime for which he was found guilty of. The annual assessment in the record states that he needs anger management, 12-step, and substance abuse, which he has not taken. And he's really had no programming since his last hearing. Victim opposition is strong. The judge is opposed, and we remain opposed. Thank you.
Yeah. All right, Mr. Coupart, is there a statement you'd like to make to us before we vote?
I think I took most of my classes. I try to take them twice. I try to take everything. I mean, I'm not the person I was when I came in prison, and I was young, and I was, when I grew up in prison, and actually I couldn't believe I got a high set. I mean, I got learning problems, and I got memory problems, and I got a high set, and I completed almost everything they wanted me to complete, I'm ready to come back home and work and be a productive citizen. That's it.
All right, thank you, sir. I think we are prepared to vote. Mrs. Wise will be voting first.
Mr. Coupart, I understand that you're nervous today, and I understand, I just understand, I believe where you're coming from. Well, you have to get to a point where you just kind of own what you did, own, who you were then, and then tell us who you are today and who you will be if I'm released today. My vote is to deny today because of the victim opposition. And I think you could use a lot more programs. Get with the staff there and figure out what programs you can take. There is an indication of you finally admitted drugs, you finally admitted prescription pills. Go ahead and explore that, while you're in prison. But my vote is to deny today.
Thank you, Mr. Freeman.
I think you're close, but my vote is to deny also because you're taking no responsibility for what you did. Like the DA said, they said. You need to own up to what happened and what you did in your own mind. And then I think next time you may have a good shot at it.
Mrs. Jackson.
All right, Mr. Coupart, I do think you have some more work to do. I do want to commend you on getting your high set, even though you have some learning issues. You hung in there and you got that, and so I want to commend you for that. But there were some programs recommended in your annual assessment that the staff believed would be beneficial for you. And so because you have some more programming that you need to complete, my vote today is to deny.
Thank you, Mr. Rich.
Mr. Coupart, my vote is to deny based upon all the reasons given by my colleagues.
And Mr. Coupart, I do agree with my colleagues. My vote today also is to deny based on the opposition that's been expressed here today, as well as the need for some additional programming. So today your parole's been denied.
Okay, I'm gonna save the unpacking for the end because remember, we're gonna come back to the present day, October 21st, 2024, to see his next parole hearing, and we're gonna have to see if he takes their advice, if he just takes accountability, and then we'll unpack it. There are a lot of, I guess, appeals and information on this case. If you want to take a deeper dive, we can do that. But just a few things off my chest. I really do not miss Wise hearings. It's like the questions that are asked, they're just so, it's very much like the Iowa parole hearings where there's nothing of substance asked and you wouldn't have any idea what was going on unless other board members asked the questions. So I just, I know some of you love her and we shouldn't be an echo chamber. That's what we always say, but I don't like the style. I don't really understand it. But anyways, let's jump in. Mr. Randy Meyer, he shows up again, and we'll unpack it at the end.
All right. All right, good morning. Good morning. Mr. Paul, would you introduce yourself? Tell us your name and DOC number.
Paul Kukart, DOC number 35707.
Mr. Coupart, my name is Cheryl Renata. You have a three-member panel today, and that's composed of myself serving as chairman, Mrs. Ledoux seated to my left, Mr. Freeman seated to my right. We also have joining us here a representative from the DA's office in Jefferson Parish, Mr. Randall Meyer. He's asked to say a few words, and we'll ask him to do so at the appropriate time. And you have been through this process before, have you not?
Yes, ma'am.
Yeah, so this is a rehearing for you. So you know how it works, so we'll just get started. Mr. Puchart, you're classified, excuse me, as a fourth felony offender. You're currently serving a 20-year sentence. You were sentenced as a habitual offender in Jefferson Parish in April of 2011 for public intimidation. Your parole eligibility date was January 7, 2016, and your good time release date is January 12, 2030. Is all that information correct?
Yes, ma'am.
So before I turn it over to Mrs. Ledoux, because your case has been assigned to her, Mr. Coupart, would you take a moment and tell the panel why are you in jail and why do you think we ought to vote favorably today for you?
Well, I'm in jail for, they said I made a threat to a police officer through a third party.
All right, why do you think we ought to vote for you today?
Because I served, charge only carries 5 years. I served almost 14 years, which is 70% of the time. And I'm a nonviolent offender, which is if I got convicted today, I wouldn't have the habitual offender bill. I'd be free. And that trial, they offered me 2 years
Okay.
for plea bargain. So, you know, felt like they penalized me for exercising my right, but it's fine. But I mean, that would be the wraps of it.
Okay. Warden, is there anything the institution has to offer?
Good morning, not really, like I said, I don't know him too well. His record kind of elaborates on what he has done here.
Good, thank you. So, Mr. Coupart, would you answer any questions Ms. Ledoux may have for you?
Yes, ma'am.
Mr. Puchart, reading your file, it appears that you had a fairly close relationship with the officer and the bar owner in this incident. Is that correct?
I knew the bar owner. I didn't know the officer. I just saw him working there.
So who took the pictures that you ultimately posted online?
I didn't post none online, and they never proved that at trial. But the thing is, I was taking pictures, and so was about 4 other people, and they were videoing it too. They were videoing it too. So,
But you were present when the pictures were taken.
yes, ma'am.
So you deny that you had any involvement in posting the pictures?
Right. They didn't prove that. They didn't prove it at court. I didn't post the pictures. I didn't. But I was convicted of that. But my bill of information said I directly threatened the cop. But the thing is, I didn't directly threaten the cop. They said that when I went to trial, it proved that the threat was made through a third party.
Okay. So, as it stands today, you postulate that you did not have any involvement in intimidating the officer or in posting the pictures. So you're completely.
And I got evidence of that. I tried to put it back in court, and I have some more pending evidence, but I can't elaborate on that because it's actually pending civilly. I got a lot of stuff civilly pending on, so I can't go into detail about it.
I have become somewhat of an accomplished paralegal here within the facility. You've become a paralegal since you've been incarcerated.
I do my own law work. Yes, yes, ma'am.
All right, I mean, I've read the file pretty extensively, and I've read some of your allegations and your civil filings. And the information that we go on today is because you've been convicted of a crime. You understand that?
Yes, ma'am. I already know, but I was convicted of it. The jury convicted me.
Okay.
I'm put that behind me. I'm trying to go home now. I'm real sick right now. I'm not trying to be in prison no more. I got medical issues, and my kids got to have the same surgery I got. We all got J pouches. We all got all of our inside of this. So we're not in good health. And I got an autistic son who's 16, and he's got to have the surgery too. And we got to figure out how we're going to give him the surgery we got, which is very, very, very painful.
So you're 46 years old, correct?
Yes, ma'am. 46.
I don't have any other questions.
Yeah. So why did you tell the bartender that you were gonna put those pictures on there if he didn't not testify?
I didn't tell him I was going to put the pictures on there. I went to the bar. I went to
Bartender lying.
the
You
son.
saying the bartender was lying?
Well, I could show statements showing that it was contradicting. There was nothing said like that. I was putting on the
But
defense.
see, you're a mental health level of CAR 5. Are you on any medications?
No, sir.
No mental health medications. Okay. And what was the contraband that you were caught with back in 15 and 16?
Talking about in prison,
Right.
there wasn't no contraband. I don't have no record.
Well, six.
I don't have nothing, nothing.
Well, you got 5, 6, 7 violations. 6
Right.
violations. 5, 11, 1, 1, 4, 5. So you're trying to say they didn't happen either?
I gotta see what they are. I think one of them was the 30 D30C. That was dropped. The one in 16, I think they wrote it. I think they wrote the whole compound up for that. That was for having extra clothes. 2 of them was for like a fight. I was actually attacked while I was tier walking. I was working in mental health tier, and I got attacked. And the other ones, it was so long ago, I can't remember them. But they're all in my jacket. Yes, sir.
Warden, you have any note of what that was?
She's looking right now, Mr. Freeman. I know that he's got like you said, the 6 write-ups is a 5, 11, and 2 1s, a 4, and a 5. I don't know what it was. He's talking about fighting. I don't even see the fighting, and he's talking about
Well, I don't either. I see disobedience and.
So there's an aggravated fight there. But the 2 1s, she's looking, but she hasn't been able to locate the actual write-ups here. Freeman.
I have no further questions.
All right, so could we hear from Mr. Meyer?
Good morning, Randall Meyer, Assistant DA in Jefferson Parish. We're opposed this time. There's victim opposition from both the officer as well as the sheriff's office. And, just to say, he wasn't charged and his conviction was not because he posted pictures. It's because of public intimidation, trying to get the officer not to testify in another matter, which he did testify. His criminal history is somewhat violent if you look at the crimes, and he has a poor supervision history. The annual assessment states that he needs vocational skills in a 12-step program, which he has not completed. And I think those courses should be those types of courses should be completed before he's considered for parole. Thanks.
Thank you. All right, I think it's now
I move for the executive session quickly.
Yeah, we have a motion for executive session. Is there a second?
Yes, I'll
Would
second
you
that.
call the roll?
Cheryl Johnson,
Yes.
Steve Freeman,
Yes,
Danny Bowers,
He's not on.
no, just,
Just Ledoux.
Ms. Ledoux.
Yes. All right. Mr. Poupart, we'll be in executive session for just a moment to discuss confidential matters. All right, we're back in regular session. The time is 10:06 a.m. We are prepared to vote. Mrs. Ledoux will be voting first.
Mr. Poupart, my vote today is going to be to deny your parole. Mr. Poupart, accepting some role in your that your actions got you where you are today is very important. I note that you have done some programming, but not a lot in recent time. And at this point, with your history and your programming, my vote is going to be to deny.
Mr. Freeman?
due to law enforcement and victim opposition, my vote is the same.
Mr. Poupart, based on your history of violence, your history of revocation, the opposition that's been expressed, the record and here today, my vote today is to deny your plea. So that concludes our hearings at Hunt. Warden Bickham, thank you for accommodating us. We're going to sign off at 10:07.
Thank y'all. Have a great day.
And for those of you who picked up that our favorite warden, Warden Bickham, is over there, good job. And Sir Richard made sure that I had the article about why he's there, and that's because the warden at Elon Hunt Correctional was removed over controversy, allegations, etc., etc. So they moved our favorite warden over here, and it's good to see him again. I'll go quickly over that article because it is something that we should cover. And again, thank you, Sir Richard, for making sure that the article is here in the spreadsheet. So the Louisiana Department of Public Safety and Corrections has placed Elon Hunt Correctional Center head warden Donnie Bertolon on suspension pending investigation. The department relieved him of official duties as head warden. His official duties as head warden of Hunt effective immediately. According to a press release from the DOC, the above actions were taken in part due to concerns of his oversight of the prison, including the investigation and process into an alleged inappropriate use of force incident over the weekend. The department has also placed this on suspension pending investigation a correctional officer for his part in the alleged inappropriate use of force incident. The officer's name is being withheld. Dixon Correctional Institute Warden Edward Dusty Bickham. I know my favorite warden. I know many of ours. He's most commonly known for his complete inability to have a poker face. So if you've seen it, he would sit there right next to. I wish they have different seating arrangements in this prison, or we would have seen it. And he says his jaw always drops as he watches the inmate, usually self-destruct. It's just something. It's something, and he's he also gets, in my opinion, the reputation for being favorite. It's because you can tell the relationship that he has with his inmates is genuine. He sits and talks to them after we have had hot mics. We've seen him just like actually talk to the inmates after a hearing. The way that he will hug the inmates when they get paroled. There's something that very authentic. It seems that he really does care. He always seems to know personally about the inmate, have discussions with them. He doesn't need to go through his notes like you see with the other ones where they try to. He's off the cuff, knows about his inmates. So, all right, we'll serve as interim head of warden Elon Hunt Correctional Center until a replacement has been chosen. And we'll keep you up to date on that, but I'm sure it will move slowly. Now, let's go to this man's appeal to get into what it is that he did. And again, thank you, Sir Richard. This is a 105-page appeal. Sir Richard put in the notes. Mandu, you can just skip ahead to the important pages, which is page 60. there's a lot of research on this, and there's something funny I'll share with you too. He says just go to page 63. We'll go to a couple pages there. There's also, before we get into that, let's get into the funny part. He has a prison dating thing, and I'm not going to screen share the dating thing because I just don't know how YouTube is with that stuff. But he basically talks about himself. It looks like the picture he has is pretty old, although to his credit, he's in good shape in the picture. And but he says, I don't like or watch sports. I'd rather do something constructive. I don't gamble or play any type of games. I'm really ready for a change and to move forward with my life. My ideal female works out, has a good job, a good sense of humor, and has to be funny and a good sense of humor. Geeky, sexy, or hell, very loyal and an open book. I need someone who loves and gives affection. Hey ladies, he's single. Go check him out. And he goes on to say, I'm currently serving a 20-year sentence on a very highly publicized case exposing corruption in Louisiana legal system involving a police cover-up from their entire department who investigated themselves. I'm really trying to make a change for the people who can't fight for their rights. And I'm sure that that's what he's doing. He's it's just, some people are just crazy. I mean, look, 20-year sentence for what he did. No, he shouldn't get it. You need the roaches to get those sentences. You need, but he was an habitual offender. He got that. And then keep in mind that he's continuously had the opportunity to get paroled much sooner, and he simply will not admit his fault. So now it's on him. And it's just crazy, really. So let's go to the statement of facts. At trial, Michael testified that he is the owner of the bar located at Metairie. He stated that the detective Steve Hickerson worked at his bar as a detail officer. He explained that a few years before the defendant was arrested in this case, the detective arrested the defendant for an incident that occurred outside the bar and charged him with battery. Mr. Berrettini testified that approximately 2 days before his trial on the battery charge, okay, so he's about to go to trial for a battery charge, the defendant went to the bar and spoke to him about Detective Hickerson. Defendant told Mr. Berrettini to tell Detective Hickerson that if he showed up in court, the defendant had pictures of a girl that he would go public with. The next day, an assistant district attorney came to the bar to take pictures for the trial on the defendant's battery charge. At that time, Mr. Berrettini informed the assistant district attorney that the defendant had been in the bar that day before and had threatened the detective thereafter. Mr. Berrettini was interviewed by the lieutenant and Lieutenant Bruce Harrison regarding the threat. On cross-examination, Mr. Berrettini testified that the interviews with the police took place at his bar after the pictures were posted on this website. What a more like, he actually thinks, you guys saw the picture, right? I can post it one more time. I mean, come on, like, what's the big deal? Nothing's gonna, like, that's not exactly like blackmail material anyways. It's like, oh no. Like, wow. They probably call it today, they probably give him a medal for I don't know, changing the hearts and minds of his community. Mr. Berrettini stated that the detective had worked for him for about 10 years and that they were friends. Mr. Berrettini replied negatively when asked whether the defendant showed him any pictures or described the pictures on the day the defendant made the threats. He stated that he had no idea at the time that the defendant was referring to a picture of a girl with her legs open on the hood to Detective Higgerson's marked police vehicle and a picture of a girl on Detective Higgerson's vehicle with her behind in the ear. While the Detective Higgerson was with her behind in the ear, while the Detective Higgerson was standing next to the vehicle, Mr. Berrettini further testified that he was present the night the pictures were taken. He had no recollection, however, of a girl on the hood of the detective's vehicle. Further, he told the police that he did not think the detective would allow a girl to get on the hood of his vehicle. Defense counsel then asked, so when you supposedly called Detective Hickerson to tell him about what the defendant told you, what did you tell him? Well, what was the big threat if you didn't know what was even in the pictures? Mr. Berrettini responded. Well, I relayed the message. It was that if Detective Hickerson was to go to court, the defendant was going to go public with some of the pictures he had. Dun dun dun. He's such a clown, this guy. Remember, this is all because he had another charge. And in his mind, he thinks he's like this. What's the word? He's like, and he's like starring. He's starring in his own movie in his head. And Sir Richard pointed out he does, by the way. This spreadsheet is full of his appeals. It goes all the way to letter Y, almost to letter Z. It goes to letter Y on the where he's suing Louisiana, blah blah blah. But Sir Richard put in the notes that he's not a very good lawyer because it seems he's lost everything. Things are dismissed, prejudice, and all that kind of stuff. I haven't gone through all of it because it's so many, but it's there. Anyways, he has been spending the last decade being a mosquito, and in his mind, he definitely believes he's right. I mean, so much to the point where he won't even fake being wrong to get paroled. But that's a crazy person, in my opinion, and probably maybe dangerous. Who knows what he might do when he gets out, right? I don't know. I don't like it. On redirect examination, Mr. Berrettini reiterated that the defendant came to his bar and told him to pass the threat on to the detective and to tell the detective that it would be in his best interest not to go to court. Mr. Berrettini repeated that he passed this information on to the detective. The state then called Arthur Maisel and stated that he had known Mr. Berrettini for about 15 years and had previously been employed at Mr. Berrettini's bar. Mr. Maisel testified that he was present when the defendant spoke, and Mr. Berrettini at the bar overhearing a conversation in which the defendant said a policeman way back he made a threat to him with some pictures that he had and that he was going to go public with. Mr. Maisel explained the defendant stated that he would go public with the pictures if the detective appeared in court. On cross-examination, Mr. Maisel testified that he had known Detective Hickerson for about 3 or 4 years. He stated that the day he overheard the conversation between the defendant and Mr. Berrettini, imagine I'm pronouncing it wrong the entire time, was the first and only time he'd ever seen the defendant. Thereafter, he gave a statement in which he told the police as the defendant was walking out of the bar, he heard him tell Mr. Berrettini to Detective Hickerson, no, if he shows up in court, I can go public with this again. It's like, ooh, I have a couple of pictures of a girl on the hood of this car. It's just stupid, right? Because, like, why did he, and let's go see, like, obviously we saw the picture, we know it was there, but let's see how it happened. Detective Steve Hickerson testified that he had been employed with the Jefferson Parish Sheriff's Office for 13 years, and he also worked private detail at Mr. Berrettini's bar for about 8 or 9 years. At trial, he identified the defendant as the same individual he arrested for the second-degree burglary due to a fight in the street in front of the bar. The night before the defendant's trial for battery, Detective Hickerson received a phone call from Mr. Berrettini informing him that the defendant had some pictures he might not want to get out, and it would be in his best interest if he did not testify at trial. Detective Hickerson testified that he took that as a threat. Despite this information, he testified at the defendant's trial on the battery charge in August of 2009. Within a month after the trial, 2 photographs were posted on the internet depicting a woman posting on the sheriff's patrol car. So I only saw one photo. I don't know. I'm sure the other one's floating out there somewhere. But I don't know where it is. We're not missing out on anything. So anyways, A trial, Detective Higginson described the circumstances at the time the photographs were taken. He testified that he had his back to, okay, so this is what he says. At trial, Detective Higginson described the circumstances at the time the photographs were taken. He testified that he had his back to his patrol car and was speaking to Mr. Berrettini, who had pulled up in his truck. When Mr. Berrettini brought his attention to the fact that there was a person on the hood of his vehicle, Detective Higginson testified that when he turned to look, he saw the image captured in State Exhibit 2, which was a woman on the hood of his vehicle with her legs open. He noticed people standing outside, but he did not see the photographer. On cross-examination, Detective Higginson testified that he no longer worked detail at the bar. He did not recall being in these photographs and did not remember a girl being on the vehicle before the photographs were posted on the internet. When Mr. Berrettini called him regarding the photographs, he had no idea what was depicted in the photographs. He acknowledged that the defendant never contacted him directly. He testified that after he received the phone call, I mean, like, whether that's true or not, and I like with the police officer, like, I believe it. So I do believe, so he wanted to frame, remember, so he knows the police officer is coming to testify against him. He's sitting there freaking out. Oh my God, what am I going to do? So he says, okay, I'm going to have my girlfriend or friend go in the police car and I'm going to distract him and someone's going to take a picture and then I'm going to make sure he never testifies. It's like, you're such an idiot. I mean, like, really? Wow. And even if it's not the case and the police officer is completely complicit, it's like, who cares? It's not like the guy is, going to get fired because he's sitting, because of that happens. It's just so, Lieutenant Bruce Harrison testified that he has been self-employed with Jefferson Parish Sheriff's Office in 1995. In August 2009, he was assigned to the Investigation Office of Public Intimidation with the victim with Detective Higginson. As part of the investigation, he interviewed Mr. Berrettini, Mr. Maisel, and the Detective Higginson and saw the two photographs of the woman in the car that are posted on this website. I'm not checking out that website. Numerous items were seized from the defendant's residence pursuant to a search warrant, including the disc containing the two photographs relevant to the case. Harrison testified that a piece of paper with the defendant's arrest register in the battery case was folded inside two pieces of paper in which the pictures of the girl on the car were printed. Additionally, a ledger was found near the computer table. This ledger listed the names and addresses of the victims from the original battery incident. In one page, Detective Higginson's name and badge number, off-duty number, and payroll number were listed on the next page. This guy is brilliant. Defendant was subsequently arrested on September 8th, 2009. Lieutenant Harrison read the defendant his Miranda rights. Thereafter, the defendant admitted that he took the photographs, but denied posting them on the website. He further admitted that he was present at Mr. Berrettini's bar the week of his trial for second-degree battery. Same week he allegedly made the threats. I don't know why he claims he's innocent. He claims that confession wasn't real. Who cares? The guy's crazy. In my opinion, like, you can't fix stupid. But there you have it. And maybe we'll see him a few more times before. And look, all he had to do was admit it. All he had to do was admit it. He'd get paroled. But he's not. And me, for someone, I would be nervous if I actually was his victim in any way. I'd be nervous. It's these kind of people that scare the hell out of me. It's like, what was it? That guy out of Nevada, Las Vegas, Nevada, who went and he just had his trial. He went and killed the person who wrote bad articles about him. It's like, you're nuts, Anyways, there you have it. Thank you, Sir Richard, and help the channel reach 100,000 subscribers by doing that thing and hit the notification bell. If he does return, actually, it shows up in the playlist called The Return of Playlist. It's down below if you want to see more hearings like this. And with that, I will let you go.
I think you're close, but my vote is to deny also, because you're taking no responsibility for what you did. Like the DA said, they said. You need to own up to what happened and what you did in your own mind. And then I think next time you may have a good shot at it.
Mrs. Jackson? All right, Mr. Poupart, I do think you have some more work to do. I do want to commend you on getting your high set, even though you have some learning issues, you hung in there and you got that, and so I want to commend you for that. But there were some programs recommended in your annual assessment that the staff believed would be beneficial for you. And so because you have some more programming that you need to complete, my vote today is to deny.
Mr. Richard.
Mr. Colpart, my vote is to deny based upon all the reasons given by my colleagues.
And Mr. Propart, I do agree with my colleagues. My vote today also is to deny based on the opposition that's been expressed here today, as well as the need for some additional programming. So today your parole's been denied.